All right, here we go. This time I don't have Drew, but we're gonna see if we can make this work. He left me with a diamond pickaxe and 2 diamonds. So what I need to do now is make sure I don't waste those. I absolutely do not want to waste it. So let's make some iron. While we're waiting, I'm trying to think of what else I can do to be ready to fight the Ender Dragon. That reminds me of the story that me and Drew were discussing, the movie that I had gone through great lengths of trying to make. And I was trying to produce with only members from the server. So what I did was I started the outline first. And the whole idea was that the Ender Dragon wanted to take over the overworld. And he was determined to take over the overworld. And he couldn't get through the end portal in the opposite direction because of how big and strong he was. So my idea was that the Enderman would be able to weaken him enough to where his power would be able to pass through the end portal, but backwards. So I began the process of writing the script where the Ender Dragon makes a deal with the Enderman, and they begin to say, hey, you know what? We want you. The Ender Dragon says, hey, I want you to, essentially, beat me up. And so that's how the show would start. It would look like a revolt, the Enderman against the Ender Dragon. And everybody would be like, hey, why are they doing that? And then eventually be revealed why, because it weakens him, but not because the Endermen are somehow doing that. But in my story, the Ender Dragon had essentially, enslaved the Endermen for centuries and centuries and centuries. And we're just, watching everything unfold. And eventually we're taken to the Brotherhood server where we meet Jesse and Drew and Pat, which is me, or Celtic, I should say. And then you meet Shelly, and they're having a trial because somebody burned down somebody's house, because of course they did. That was pretty typical in those days. So that was number one, our thing that we were doing. And suddenly they decide that they're going to have a big old festival. That festival was to celebrate the anniversary of the server, and it's going to be great, and all this great stuff. And so they do that, but what do you think happens? Drew and Jesse, as per their typical things, decide that they're going to prank the festival with a ton of cow spawn eggs. Well, the Ender Dragon, after turning itself into an egg, was able to hatch, and as a small spirit, not a full Ender Dragon, but like a weird spirit, would change the spawn eggs from cows to creepers. Now, it's one thing if you spawn a bunch of cows, they're just annoying and in the way, but in this case, it was creepers. And then all of a sudden they see 2 moderators that spawn something that's going to destroy everything that they've worked on. And that's the kind of thing that would grant somebody a wonderful lifetime supply ban back in those days. And they weren't trying to be cruel, they were trying to be funny. But Drew and Jesse aren't given the benefit of the doubt, and immediately were ostracized for doing that. Is ostracized the word? What does ostracize have to do with? It's like ostriches, right? Ostriches. Sounds like sausages. And eventually they go through this quest to figure out how to defeat the Ender Dragon, because the Ender Dragon, after that day, he possessed the main antagonist. So I can't really say, oh, well, you said you'd do this, so you have to commit to it. No, I can't do that to him, right? And that moderator believed in strict rules, and he wanted everybody to follow things almost to a fault. Our fun was not required. Only discipline was required. Only rules were required. And yes, it's good to have rules in a server so you can prevent people from griefing each other and hurting each other. I mean, there's a line, right? But why would you play on a server that's constantly monitoring how creative you are playing around? If you're having fun, you're having a good time, and everybody is laughing, and all of a sudden here comes someone go, hey, you're not supposed to be able to do that. You're not supposed to be able to do that. It wasn't a jab at him, but he was a really good moderator. So he became possessed. Nobody could tell that he was being manipulated or put by the Ender Dragon. So the Ender Dragon inside of this person corrupted his already strict principles, and realizing that something was wrong with this server member, they wanted to find a way to free him because they realized he was possessed by something. They didn't know what. You know, he gets a little bit full of himself, and he destroys everything. He makes life a little bit difficult for everybody, including, you know, the server admins, and he's just trying to restore order. At least in his mind he thinks that, but really it's the Ender Dragon in his mind practicing taking over literally everything. He's like, I'm going to rule this world anyway, so might as well start now. I want everybody listening to me, I want everybody following these rules, and there's no exception. The lesson of the story was that Jesse was doing a prank, and that prank turned into an accidental destruction of a very important festival for everybody. Everybody had planned it for a long time, and then suddenly, you know, he blows up everything. And it's like, well, real life Jesse, he wasn't a bad guy. He definitely wasn't above something like that. But if he caused destruction, it was usually by accident. And it wasn't really like he did it on purpose sort of deal. And I want to exemplify the fact that he was totally caught off guard. And the Ender Dragon is the one who's framed Jesse. And as a result, realized that the person that was the most angry at Jesse for creating mischief, the person who was trying to be recognized as a moderator, was the bad guy. I need to give him a name because I keep referring to him as a bad guy. All right. Ooh, is that a bell? I want this. I want this. I want this. This is mine now. Yay. And the idea was that he was so tired of his role at having to keep order that the actual admin owners, they were like, oh no, it's just Jesse. He's being silly. He's having fun. Don't give him a hard time. And he was like, well, what's the point of having rules if we're not going to follow them? And honestly, back then, I was kind of that same opinion. But I realized later that it's not always possible when you're dealing with a bunch of insane people. They're not bad people. They're just crazy. They're kids. They're having fun. It's okay. Let's call him David. The character destroyed the entire amusement park. The people there had made an amazing amusement park. And, ooh, is that a fox? Hey, wait a minute. Oh no, I caught him in the restroom. I'm sorry, sir. This was a complete accident. You have to believe me. I'm not usually walking into people's houses, but hey, since I'm here, let's take a break. You don't mind taking a nap, eh? Okay, here we go. And after he destroyed the amusement park, he built a huge throne, and he would sit up there and essentially be judging everybody. And he would essentially ban people for whatever reason he wanted to. They would sneeze funny and he'd ban them. And I'm sure there's not one single, all right, my captive audience, literally, and the cat. Okay, how do I get the cat out but leave him in there? No, it's fine. I already have my armor. I will find my ingots. I know they're here somewhere. Unless Drew stole them, which is possible. But, he would judge everybody just very harshly, and for whatever reason he could think of, he would ban people because he didn't know that he was being possessed by the Ender Dragon. He wanted to rule it all. And so Jesse, Drew, and Shelly fled underground, and they were looking to escape the Ender Dragon. As they were escaping, they go underground, giving Jesse a hard time. Hey, it's your fault. Why did you escalate things so much? Why did you joke around? Drew and Jesse were just saying, look, that wasn't our plan. Our plan was to release cows, not creepers on the festival. It was meant to be a joke, a prank. It was meant to be inconvenient, but it wasn't supposed to be mean or destructive. And of course, by that time, the reputation that they both had earned was kind of like, yeah, whatever. You're just lying. It's a whole character arc building moment where Jesse realizes that maybe because he's so used to joking around, that maybe the jokes can get misinterpreted as cruelty. And when they're cruel, it's not fun anymore. And he doesn't like that. So Drew essentially says, you know what? So you're on your own. I'm not going to anymore. And Jesse wanders off, and he's really sad. And he comes across an ancient Enderman who reveals to them that this is what's happening with your friend. He's definitely been possessed by the Ender Dragon. He just wants to control everything. He doesn't think anybody else knows how to do anything. And anybody who's played Minecraft has definitely been on the server with those type of people, right? And hang on, I need to make an oven. So exciting, the world of Minecraft. I'm making ovens. You're welcome, audience. And he finds an Enderman, and an Enderman is like playing wall ball with an Ender Pearl. But he's like bored to tears. Like, why is everybody mean to me? But he sees Jesse, and Jesse can't understand him because he's an Enderman. But he's acting so docile. He throws Jesse the Ender Pearl, and they start tossing it back and forth. Now, this was back when Ender Pearls didn't teleport you. He learned that the way that you can have fun in a group like that is if everybody's having a good time and they're able to get along and be on equal terms. Hey, I love pranking people, but I realize my pranking can go too far. It shouldn't just be about one of us grabbing for power nonstop. It should be about all of us being able to share this fun things. I was pretty young at the time that I wrote this, but I thought it was an important lesson. So Drew saw Jesse with Enderman, and he thought, oh no, my friend's in danger. I know I was mean to him before, but I need to save him now. This elderly Enderman who's lived for hundreds of thousands of years and is finally starting to help him and be their guide. Drew's like, no, and he kills the Enderman. And just like, what are you doing? And Drew's like, what? Wait, I just saw you. And Drew's like, what do you mean he was nice? And so he basically kills the one friend that told him what to do, which was to defeat the Ender Dragon. And if they defeated the Ender Dragon, they would be able to free their friend, David. Jesse understands what real fun is supposed to look like. He knows that being a troublemaker is fun in its own way, but it can kill everybody else's fun. And only one person has this insane amount of power. The rest of us are just kind of like, what? We're just waiting for our chance to be tormented, and that's not cool. It comes to a head when Jesse and Drew, go back to David, like, well, hey, the only reason why I was always so mad at you wasn't because you were breaking the rules, is because I had made this really cool horse race thingy that I wanted you to try. And Jesse never made time for it because he was too busy doing his own thing, and he never really considered I should be hanging out with my friends, and I should be trying to do what they think is fun instead of just what I think is fun. It was always really cool, but I needed a story. Friendship was the goal all along. And honestly, a lot of people were kind of, I don't want to say petty, but that's really what would turn people against each other. It's like, hey, I did this for you. You didn't do this for me. So now I'm mad at you forever. And it's like, really? So Jesse, in an attempt to say, okay, David, I will play your horse racing game with you. And David's like, okay, well, I want to race you now. We're going to do this. And it's great. Jesse obviously wasn't very good at this game, so David won. He goes, haha, I destroyed you. I'm the best ever. Jesse, you lose. And Jesse told David, but did you have fun? And realizes, oh crap, I did. I did have fun. Which temporarily breaks the dragon's control, because the dragon is supposed to be anti-fun, anti-rule breaking, and the first thing you're going to do when you're about to break the rules is what? You start having fun. You start thinking of all the mischievous things you could do. So the dragon gets expelled from David because He's like, oh, what are you doing? You can't be being nice to people. Since when are you nice to people? I never agreed to you being nice. And he finally comes out. He didn't just escape David. He transformed him into the Ender Dragon, but with the power that he only had at that moment. Because he was still trying to recharge, but he didn't reach his full power yet. What is this? Was that a wolf? Oh, nice. Cool. And, ooh, fire. What's fire doing over here? Oh, it's burning everything down. No! Well, it's basically as the dragon saying, I'm in complete control of this guy now. I am going to destroy you all. Jesse got his administrator powers back. Shelly and Drew were still underground. They found a hidden command block, which Shelly was really mad about. And so they gave Jesse the admin powers because he was the one closest to the dragon and most likely to die as a result of it. Jesse, after getting it, thinks, okay, now I can go be the hero and save everybody. But instead, he makes a very different decision. And he uses it to bring everybody back, all the members of the server that had been banned. And he decides to give them all creative mode. And giving every player administrative mode is less of a strategy and more of a we're going to die sort of situation. If everybody has to have admin powers to defeat the thing, that's a problem. But the only thing they didn't have was the invulnerability that creative mode gives you. It wasn't necessarily the best move. I mean, it's not the best. It wasn't really going to accomplish a whole lot, you know? Because all they could really do was use the powers to, you know, give themselves weapons, to fight, to use limited amount of commands. So then they work together in a very cool animation by Mr. Richard Brennick. I know I've said his guy's name a million times, but I can't stop singing his praises because he did a really great job. He did a fantastic job, and I'm so grateful that he took a chance on my group and crazy mentality. And because he did, we have this cool animation of these server members that meant a lot to me. Fighting together and creating that snapshot in time of all of us together doing fun stuff, even though that never really happened. And they defeat the dragon. They get David back. He's learned a new lesson, so he's happy to not be so strict anymore. Ironically, Jesse learns that he can't always be doing crazy stuff anymore, so they both kind of win. Jesse helped rebuild the festival because he felt so guilty about everything that had happened. And they go on to be friends, and it was great. Now, the script that I had made wasn't complete.